Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new episode of Eve Echoes. Tonight on the show we're going to be announcing the winners of the past community question of the week, which was insurance system. You think it is good or is it bad? And the question was plain and simple because the insurance system had just launched. Now, today's episode will be focusing on trying to understand what exactly happened and why the deployment of this savior feature that was supposed to save the market and the industry from creating things out of thin air by the ship reimbursement system, the old one, has turned into a total fiasco. But that for later. Right now, let's go and announce the winners. Let's go to random.org and see what the random number generator spews out. Of course, 2 lucky winners will receive a 1 Omega Combo clone each, and the first winner is Hitesh Jar. I hope I pronounced this correctly. Congratulations, he won with this comment. I think the insurance system is overall good for industry. The ship is bought from the market by the insurance system, which makes the ship selling faster in market, as not just players but the insurance system is also buying ships. That is correct. The builders still get the 100% of ship value, whereas the insured person gets it for a discount of 70%. Also, when a player insures his ship, he's essentially removing 30% of risk value from the market, which is later spent by insurance system on ship buying. The ships isn't coming out of thin air now, old ship recovery, although it's still heavily in favor of combat pilots. To balance it even more, they can add an insurance cutoff date from the time of buying insurance. After this date, your insurance expires and you have to buy it again with 30% IP. That will balance it completely. This is an interesting point here, and we'll probably touch it once we get down to why, what exactly happened with the insurance system post-deployment. Moving on to the second winner of today, and winner is SNT Gotchaman. Insurance system is terrible. I think it lowers price on everything in market and hurts industry players pretty bad because ships are being made out of thin air. I also think that they should have simply done ISK to buy insurance rather than going to pay to Winplex route. Pretty sad about this update. Congratulations to both of today's winners. You basically won 1 Omega Combo clone each. Please leave a comment with your in-game name and your character ID. You can find that in the menu in the character sheet in the game. I'll need that information to pass down to the people responsible handling your prizes, so you'll be receiving your prizes in-game via in-game email, so be sure to check that out. Also, I'd like to thank everyone for participating, and please do stick around until the end of the video because we will be launching yet another community question of the week with yet another 2 Mega Combo Clone prizes for 2 randomly picked winners. So what's up with the new insurance system? Well, as I explained in the previous videos, it follows a couple of simple yet basic rules. To have any given ship insured, you basically need to have an amount of insurance points in your wallet, or whatever it's called, in your bank, in your IP bank, your IP account. You have to have a decent amount of IP, which needs to exceed the amount that the current ship that you're flying costs. Why is that? Because when you go boom, the system creates a snapshot of how many IPs you had in your wallet compared to how many IPs this specific ship would cost to reimburse. Now, if you have less than that amount inside your bank stored before your ship went boom, well, you're going to have to pay the full price of recovering it and the fittings, or just as well you might go off the market and buy one and buy your items from there. That's pretty much a no-brainer. But if you do have a sufficient amount of IP stocked, if the amount is higher than the actual value of the ship, then the ship you're going to reimburse will only use 30% of the maximum amount that would cost to reimburse that ship. And here you get the discount. That's the 70% discount, and you only pay 30% of the actual value of the loss. But remember, the snapshot is created at the time of loss, so you need to have that amount of IP deposited in your bank before your ship actually goes boom. Okay, so what happens next? Well, again, a simple list of steps that the system follows in order to reimburse a ship. Number one, when you hit that reimburse button or you recover whatever, your ship gets recovered instantly. It was promised that the insurance system will not be creating stuff out of thin air and will basically just interact with the market and bring you stuff from the market, well, basically what other players are selling or are producing, so to enable the interaction with the ecosystem and the sandbox itself. And it does that, but at a different level. So your ships get, or items or fit or whatever, your loss gets reimbursed instantly, and it's indeed spawned, generated out of thin air, and you get that. But how does the system compensate? Well, again, it's pretty easy list of steps. Number one, your IP points that were used in order to reimburse your loss will basically get converted back into Plex. Remember, you had to buy those IP with Plex, so they get transformed back into Plex, and the system basically puts them on sell orders on the market so other people can buy those Plex. Once all the Plex are bought from your ship loss, you know, the Plex that have been transformed from IP from your ship loss recovery, after all those Plex are being sold, they are transformed into an ISK pool, or they get stored inside an ISK pool that is associated with the kill mail that was just reimbursed. You know, the ships and stuff that was just generated out of thin air for you to get instantly. So remember, really, really important, only after all the Plex associated with your kill mail loss get sold, then the market buy orders start appearing. So the ISK pool that was generated from Plex selling gets put back on the market in form of buy orders, and the buy orders are basically orders for the exact items that you chose to reimburse. The ship, the modules, the rigs, the drones, whatever. And then, order after order, you know, the orders will be set at a higher than normal price. I think somewhere around 10% higher than the highest buying order on the market, meaning it will probably be fulfilled pretty quickly. Either way, this process might take, depending on what items, what ships you're reimbursing, might take up to, I don't know, 1 month or even around there, give or take. So those buy orders are being put by the system. The system is called penned insurance, and people selling stuff on the market will be fulfilling those orders. And once those orders are fulfilled, the system proceeds with destroying those items. Yes, because it created something out of thin air for you to get instantly, and when it collects the stuff from the market, from the players, buying the stuff from the players actually sell to those buy orders set by the system. The system then proceeds to destroy those items in order to remove duplicates. So it's just like you instantly bought something from the market, yet you didn't. You got the stuff instantly, but it's sort of like a promise. You get your stuff back with the promise that whenever those items will be acquired by the system, they will be destroyed to remove the duplicates. But here, it was promised to work, and to a certain degree it does. But this schematic showed up somewhere on Reddit, and I was a bit skeptical about it. I mean, let's take a look at it and we'll understand why. So, former economic model, we had the off-market and the dead ship stock, basically the ones that don't get reimbursed by the old system, and you had a demand for all those ships that went boom and were not reimbursed by the tickets, you know, the PvE recovery or whatever, the old ship recovery system. Those people needed ships because they had none, so it would proceed to go to fill the replacement ship stock, and basically created a demand for the market. So the players without the ship would go to the market and buy those off the market. Now, whoever made this probably was not aware of how the insurance system works, because on the right side we see that the new economic model is portrayed as, you know, the reimbursed ships compared to the dead ship stock, and we have another color marked as yellow off-market insured ship. And this area right here says that it creates demand only for a very little portion for people to go off and buy this stuff from the market directly. Which, yes, it is true. Only that specific portion that don't afford Plex to just stock up on IP will go to the market to buy something else. Well, the yellow side of the things is basically created out of thin air and basically creates extra stuff. So industry is how people called it dead. Well, that's not the case. As I mentioned, how the insurance system works, it'll create the orders and then will buy those off the market and ultimately will destroy them. So it's like getting those items off the market in, I don't know, 30 days or so, and then ultimately destroying them. But by destroying those items, your ships, your items that were reimbursed and created out of thin air basically correlate to those. So it's like what you have now has been provided by someone off the market. So in my opinion, that yellow stuff is also green, but it's not bought off by the players. No, it's bought off by the system, the insurance system. But somehow this whole thing turned into a fiasco and people grabbed the pitchforks and torches. I kind of anticipated this, but only due to the fact that the insurance system is tied with Plex, and that probably and most likely we will be seeing an increase in Plex price. And I also kind of stated that, you know, this insurance system has been around in EVE Online under a different mechanic. You get the ISK back, and I was kind of asking myself, and probably the devs as well, why was the wheel reinvented? Because, you know, reinventing the wheel is not always best practice. Well, turns out this came around and biting everyone's hands off. Sort of like the baby crocodile that you just managed to raise, and suddenly it turns around to eat your head off. Apparently some groups have done testing on the live server trying to see what happens with the insurance system and how is everything working. Well, it turns out they got to a result, and that result is not satisfying, meaning it shows that ships get created out of thin air and there's nothing around destroying the items that should be destroyed in the first place. You know, the ones that the system should place buy orders for, and after acquiring the items, destroying them. Basically, they say that they don't see any buy orders from the system, and you can basically reimburse for free with a discount and just, I don't know, break the entire game. And there's this letter that was made public, and a group of players actually aiming to send it to several media outlets, trying to expose and trying to ask NetEase to fix it because it's going to destroy the market altogether and people will start scramming off. And yeah, this is basically their concern, and I'm not taking a dump on it. I mean, it's their concern. I have my concerns as well. You may have your concerns as well, but as you can see, opinions are split. Something that this system is good, something that this feature is piss poor and it needs either complete removal or complete redesign. In my opinion, right now, I don't have one. Anyway, ask yourself, well, you're an official content creator, you must have noticed, you must have asked for information, you must know something in order to better explain this situation. Well, let me get to you this. This fiasco was generated not by misinformation and not by ninja mechanics or whatever other people might call it. It was created from the lack of information, and that's probably an issue with NetEase, that they've been doing all sorts of stuff, but the communication with the player base has not been really good. I mean, we've had several features, we've got ninja features coming out every patch, and we don't know about them. So communication with the player base is lacking, and it's falling down behind, and basically players, you know, it's sort of like aliens. I'm not saying it's aliens, but it is aliens. People fear what they do not understand, and I agree with that. I mean, it's perfectly normal. It's a defense mechanism that we have. If we don't understand something, then it should be bad. Well, not entirely. If we go on to a science approach, well, what those people have tested on the live server, I would call anecdotal evidence. Why is that? Because, well, it was not isolated. It's very difficult to follow a lot of stuff on the live server, and in my opinion, you cannot draw proper conclusions by testing this on the live server. Now, in my defense, I am trying to set up the test server to do this test and see how the insurance system works, but I'm having difficulty doing that because for some reason on the test server everything is empty. I mean, there's no item orders on markets. Yeah, the market is 0, so I'm actually trying to give some items an estimated market value because that does not exist yet. I'm still trying, and without any estimated market value for items, I cannot toy around with the insurance system. So people have been asking, they need to fix it right away, they need to do this, they need to do that. In my opinion, NetEase should do just one thing: provide clarifications, exact step-by-step how the insurance works, with examples, with data being shown, and this, I think it would cover 90% of the issues. Well, we may have some unsatisfactory opinions about how the insurance system is working, of course, at in a total level, but it would provide us with the information, and no one will be left just assuming, what happens if you get with a discount? Does it get you only 1/3 of the ship? Are you creating Plex out of thin air? Are you infusing the market with ISK? All these questions and all these accusations and all these assumptions could go away just by offering a statement, a really nice documentation about how the insurance system works, and that will help not only the player base, but every other pilot that has its doubt, be it in the good side or on the bad side. I, for one, don't think that it's really bad, but I don't think it's really good. I won't be consuming every piece of information anyone tosses over the internet by stating something and that they tested it. I want to be able to verify that in order to confirm and in order to say, okay, yeah, after they release a statement, maybe these guys are right, and maybe they could be perfectly right. Maybe they are trying to get us for a quick cash grab, or maybe not. We cannot confirm this right now. I mean, in order to do that, we should be able to see that information, see how it works, either through examples or be able to test it ourselves. If I do manage to test it on the test server, I will be posting my results, and I will try to point out if one party had the correct answer and in regards to how the insurance system works, and maybe it was partial, maybe they did catch on to something, but what the conclusion that they reached was incomplete. We don't know. So the first thing that I would urge for the developers, the NetEase company, to do is to release a statement exactly on how the insurance is working, the exact details, the exact mechanic, so people can follow that information and confirm if it's a thing to worry about or people just misunderstood. Because, well, to the other extreme is the fact that this may be a system, given the fact that it takes around 30 days to complete an entire cycle. This might be just a complete and total misunderstanding, because the process, given the fact that it's a long duration, might take a while until it reaches its full potential, and the changes that we see right now are very slim, but we will see big changes in terms of how the system operates probably in the near future, or at least after a month or so. Well, basically because all those buy orders will be acquired and the items will be destroyed, and you know, all the ships that are currently being reimbursed, you're not seeing an immediate effect. You're just seeing ships created out of thin air, and that is correct. But we need to see the rest of the process, and we need to see the end of the process, something that I wasn't able to see on any of the findings that anyone posted on the internet, be it on Reddit or some other, I don't know, Discord, I wasn't able to see. I got tossed some pictures with Plex not being sold. Well, Plex not being sold, and the argument was there's no buy orders for the market on the market for the ships and the items. Well, if the Plex hasn't been sold yet, no one bought off that Plex, the buy orders won't be created. This was stated in the steps that we were given by the developers. Once all the Plex is being sold, then the buy orders start appearing. And of course, one of the concerns that I'm interested in, and of course the information that NetEase might be releasing into helping us understand how the system works, is what happens with the discount. There's also a lot of people that fear that the discount is actually allowing players to get ships out of thin air and then put buy orders on the market with 30% less value, meaning those market orders will never be fulfilled, thus leading to ships being created out of thin air, and that's that, no deduction from the market whatsoever, and basically those orders will never be fulfilled. Yet some do believe that the market orders for buying those stuff are actually compensated with this just to be at the median of the market, the estimated market value. So this would mean that the system is actually creating a surplus of ISK because it's trying to infuse ISK into the game. Some people are also stating and claiming that, you know, the 10% tax that they're doing, yeah, I think this is a pretty bad thing. There's a 10% tax of every IP transaction when you reimburse, and that means basically 10% of that IP is destroyed, is not converted into Plex. Now, Plex should never be destroyed. This is one bad thing that I agree with, and yeah, this needs to be fixed. But for the other mechanics, NetEase does need to release, I don't know, a chart, a flow, or the logical design, a physical design on how the insurance system works, and that will provide us with a such needed clarification, and of course it may point us towards the right direction, meaning we can then state who was right, who was wrong, and what's to do next, because that's the most important part. What do we need to do next? Not only us players, but the developers themselves. If the system is indeed broken, indeed they will be needing to fix it. But we need to understand how it works, and I urge everyone that has filled, I don't know, reimbursement. It's pretty hard to take a look at the market in live environment. There's too much spam, there's too much stuff to get a controlled test out of it. If I do manage to test it on the test server, I will let you guys know of my findings. And of course, any information that will be provided by the developers in the meantime, if they do come out and post some information, I will be handing it to you guys to read it, understand it, to, I don't know, chew it, and reach your own conclusion. Until then, my opinion is everything is anecdotal until confirmed with a viable, isolated test in a controlled environment. So if you reached this portion of the video, this is the time when we issue the next community question of the week. And the next community question of the week is, do you think that the Valentine's Day event, the Guardian Gala, will be a better event in terms of better than the other ones that we had? Do you think that they learned the lesson with the events? Do you think they improved them? Well, I guess we'll see. You might be able to answer this question immediately after this Friday, because on the 12th, the event will be live and we will be getting, I don't know, probably more skins. But let's be a bit optimistic. Maybe we saw some teasers here and there that they will be having some new sides, some new mechanics, and I'm a bit interested to see if they did anything to improve and work on the failures that we saw with the previous events. So answer that question in the comment section, And as always, if you do enjoy and like what you're seeing here, please throw in a like and a subscribe. And if you really wish to support me and keep this channel alive and, I don't know, provide you guys with more content, there's the YouTube channel membership. You can donate something as small as $2 monthly, and you can cancel it at any time. It really helps, and for that I thank you very, very much. So, thank you guys for watching. A very big shout out to my channel supporters, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.